Okay, so we're gonna look at the limit point today, which is again something that seems to confuse people. It's sometimes called vanishing point, but it's simply the limit of your vision. It's as far as you can see on the road that you're travelling on. Now this becomes important when we're approaching bends, because we need to get ourselves into a position where we can stop within the distance we can see to be clear. And I think the key thing to remember here is that the limit point is not necessarily about driving at high speed, or police pursuit driving. It's the safest way to corner with maximum speed. There are faster ways of getting around a corner, but they are inherently less safe because you're compromising on safety a little bit, because you're going into the unknown. So the limit point is the furthest point that you can see. Now up this road here, you can see that the road bends around to the right. The limit point as we sit here is just beyond the third telegraph pole. You can see it just beyond the bins as the road bends around to the right. Now as we get closer to the corner, that limit point will move away, or it should start to move away. If it doesn't, that would mean that the corner is really tight, and we're going to have to ease the speed back, because we need to be able to stop in that distance we can see to be clear. If it's a very slack bend, the limit point will move away very quickly. So it gives us a little bit of a guide as to how tight the bend is whilst we're approaching, but we must always be able to stop in that distance. So as we approach a bend, we're probably reducing the speed because that limit point is getting closer to us. Once we get closer to the bend, the limit point will then open out and move away from us. Ideally, to balance the speed with the limit point, the amount of new road you can see should stay the same as the amount that you're gaining on it. So we're always staying the same distance away. That's it, perfectly matched to the bend. Now it'll probably be easier to demonstrate that on some video clips that I'll doctor and show you how to work that. But I just want to let that thought be with you while we do this, and I'll approach some bends and tell you about what I'm thinking, and hopefully that might make it clear. So you can move off. So you'll notice as we get closer to this bend, look at the telegraph pole where the little old lady is. You can see it's actually opening out now, isn't it? That limit point is moving away from us. So I'm okay to keep this level of speed on. Got a vehicle on the left, so I'm going to just move over to the right and get a better view. Bend goes round to the left. The limit point is already moving away from me, so I can easily go at this sort of speed. Because that limit point is not getting closer to us, we're okay. Again, there's a bend to the left. I can see already that limit point, you'll get a better view as we get past this car, that limit point is moving away from me steadily. You should be able to see that then. We're not gaining on that end point of vision. This time you can see it's getting a little closer to us because the bend is a little tighter. So I'm holding the speed off here. Now you can see that there's a new piece of road opening up all the time which matches our speed. So it's moving away from us at the same speed that we're travelling. So we're okay to keep the power on there. Again. So we can see the bend goes around to the right. So as we look at it, there's nothing moving at the moment. Now it starts to open up. Now the bend to the left, you can see it's still tight, still tight, still tight. Now the view is opening up, so we can put a little bit of power on. So that's what we call the limit point, the furthest point you can see. Again, the road bends to the right here. As you can see, the limit point is starting to move already, so there must be a fairly slack bend, which of course it is. Bend to the left. Again, the limit point is opening out already. Again, bend to the right. Limit point is staying the same. Now it's just starting to open out now, so we can put some power on. We can stop in that distance we can see to be clear. Now if we look at the bend ahead of us, a little bit more difficult to judge this time because there aren't any reference points at the other side of the road. So what I would do here is use the edge of the trees on the left to measure against the grass verge at the other side. Now there should be some movement there, so in effect the earlier that opens out, Not so easy to tell this time, but we can use those 2 reference points there. So the edge of the trees against the grass verge at the other side. What we're looking for is that opening out to allow us to keep the speed on. If it doesn't open out, we need to take more and more and more speed off until that matches. The amount of new road that appears matches the speed that we're coming at it. Let's see if we can demonstrate that as we come along here. So at the moment you can see there's no movement. Still no movement. It's just starting to open out a little now. And then it opens out fully so we can chase it around. Again, if you look ahead, there's another left-hand bend. Measure the edge of the trees here with the bush over the other side of the road. You can see that gap's widening already. As we look into the bend, we're getting new road all the time, so we can keep the power on. Bend to the right this time. Again, using the verge at this side to measure against the wall, it's opening out nicely. Bend to the left ahead. So we're going to approach this one with a bit more speed on. So again, measure the wall against the verge at the other side. There's no movement at all here just yet, so we're taking more speed off, now it opens out. So using this method, we can match our speed to the bend and know that we're safe. Bend to the right. The tree line gives us an idea about where the road's going to go. But as we look into the corner, it tightens up a little there, so measure the right-hand verge against the left. Now it's moving away, so we must be at the right speed. Again, bend to the left, measure one verge against the rest. It's moving away, so we can keep the speed on. We've got a new piece of road all the time, and we can't stop in the distance we can see ahead of us. That's the speed matched to the limit point nicely. Again, that limit point's moving away, so we're fine. Right-hand bend, keeping an eye on the pedestrian that's ahead. Again, we've got new road all the time. A little bit more difficult this time, the guys are walking on the wrong side of the road. Technically should walk on the right hand side. So here, look at the limit point here. It's staying still, so I'm slowing. Now it's opening up. We'll put some power on and balance the car. We keep enough power on just to keep the car flat on the road. So not necessarily accelerating, but not slowing down either, so it just balances the car out. Look at the limit point this time, left-hand edge of the trees. You can see that the limit point's moving already. So we can chase that round now. You have to be careful when you're chasing limit points, because there is more to it than just that, but it gives you a guide. Bend to the right, and it's opening out already, so we're fine. Bend to the left this time. See where the cars come from. So we can use the edge of one verge to the edge of the other. Looking for that new road opening out, which it is doing, so we have no need to slow down here. We can follow that round at the same speed. Same with the right hand bend, that limit point is opening all the time. Left hand bend, again, we're getting new road opening up all the time, so we can actually take this one at a fair old speed. Because we have new road opening up all of the time. Tucking in for the one coming towards us. Bend to the left. Take a little speed off because there's not quite enough new road. We're gaining on that limit point. Now it's running away from us at the same speed as we are travelling, so we're about right. Bend to the right, limit point's opening. Bend to the left, same again. So in this way we can keep the car balanced and keep it smooth. Fluorescent jacket ahead, could be workman, could be just somebody being sensible walking out in the somebody on a buggy. So hopefully you can see from that video that we're able to gauge almost how tight the bend is when we're coming into it. The most important thing is that we have that view of new road all the time, and if we have the speed right to match the bend, there'll be the same amount of new road all the time as the speed we're travelling through, so we're always able to stop in that distance. If that limit point starts to move closer to you, you need to take some speed off. So we'll run a little loop around here, which hopefully will be able to let you see that in action, as it were. I'll remove the camera from the front so you can get a better view, and well, we'll see how that works. left at the end. Works with junctions too. If you have a look here, you tell the junction is tight, so we're not getting much new road here until we're very slow. I'll give you a bit of a guide. Double bends to the right first, so that's always going to be less tight than a one to the left first, because we're on the outside of the bend. So look at the limit point. It's moving away from us, so we've got plenty of room to stop. We can stop in the distance we can see to be clear. Bend to the left, travelling slowly. There's a proportionate amount of new road all the time. We're going to go right here. Taking a view into the new road, we have a bend to the right straight away. So we can look at that telegraph pole on the right hand side, measure it against the hedge. It's opening out already. Again, measure the bin against the hedge. So you can see we've got new road opening up all the time. It is only 30 here. Again, bend to the right, look into the bend. That point, that's the furthest bit we can see, is getting closer to us, so we're easing the speed off. Now it's moving away, so we're keeping the same amount of road in our view at all times. So again, to the left, look at the grass against the other side. You can see where the road's going anyway. Cyclist ahead of us, so we're going to keep an eye out for him. Bend to the right. Measure one verge against the other. We've got the same amount of new road opening up all the time. And over to the left, I can see where the road goes. I'm going to take a wide position here. Bend to the left. New road opening up all the time. Obviously it's much easier to gauge as one coming towards us. Much easier to gauge when you've got better things to measure against. We're just using the verges here. Get a little bit of an indication as well from the car that's just come towards us. He's come around that bend fairly quick and there was no drama, so it must be relatively slack. And as you can see, because we've got the same amount of new road opening up all the time, we can keep the speed the same. Bend to the left. Again. Looking ahead this time, the bend's a little tighter. That limit point is getting closer, so I'm taking more and more speed off until we've got the same amount of view running ahead of us all the time. This is the right speed for this bend. Mud on the road, so I'm careful here. I'm trying to get the mud in between my wheels. Bend to the right. Same amount of road opening up, so we're okay. Looking way up in the distance. I can see about 3/4 of a mile ahead, so I'm checking the road from that point and looking ahead, back, and just scanning forward and back. I can see that this one's fairly slack. Look at the next one, look at the limit point. It's opening up now. Again, a bend to the right. The limit point's opening up already, so there's no need to slow down here. Again, bend to the right. One towards us. Again, you can see how on these slight curves, or these slack bends, if you like, the limit point moves away continually. It's only when you get the real tight bends that you've got to really working hard to get that speed down. Again, the road bends to the right. Look at the limit point, that little arrowhead on the road. You can see it's actually moving away from us all the time. So there's no need for us to reduce speed. Coming into a residential area, so there's a potential change of speed limit, so whereas just ease the speed down. Now let's look at the limit point ahead of us here. We can look at the edge of the house. You can see it's actually opening up already, so it's not too tight a bend. Again, we're looking into the bend, looking for that limit point, that arrowhead if you like, up in the distance, and gauging our distance from that arrowhead all the time. Again, bend to the left. Look at the limit point, it's opening up already. We've got new road ahead of us continually, but no need for us to slow down. Again, in the distance, bend to the right. Cast your eyes up into the furthest point you can see. You can see there's new road opening up all the time ahead of us. I mean, we're doing 30 here. We could, the physical location means we could take that bend at higher speed. It's just the speed limit stopping us. you look in the distance, you can see the road narrows and there's a bridge. The tree line ahead of me indicates that the road's going to bend either left or right, not really sure. Now here we don't have a clear view, and the hill is in effect an uphill bend. So we need to travel at a speed where we can stop in the distance we can see to be clear, which is just to the dead ground. So nowhere near as far away, so we need to be much more careful there. Always able to stop in the distance we can see. Again, looking ahead, you can see that there's a bend. Try and find the limit point. Eyes up as far as you can see, looking for that arrowhead where the 2 points meet. And you can see we have new road all the time, so we have no need to slow down here. Bend to the right. It says that it's tight, but is it? Have a look into the limit point. Well, you can see that limit point's getting closer to us, so we're taking some speed off. More speed off, and a little more, and a little more, a little more. Now we have the same amount of new road opening up as the ground we're covering, so we can keep our speed the same there. Again, look, bend to the left. Oh, there's new road opening up, but just slowly. So that gap is narrowing, so we need to slow her all the way down. This is the right speed. The new road is opening up at approximately the same speed as we're travelling. So we're always able to stop in that distance. Bend to the left. We don't have too good a view here, so in these circumstances where you can't see into that dead ground, your speed needs to reduce naturally. Now we open up so we can put some power on. So again, looking ahead, there's a bend. You can tell by the vehicles in front of me that the bend is to the right. Already I can see that the new ground is opening up ahead of us. That limit point is moving away from us, so we're fine. We're at the right speed. Looking ahead, you can use one fence against the other. As you can see, we've got new road opening up all the time. That limit point is moving away from us, so we're fine at this speed. Road works ahead. Bend to the right. Look at the limit point. It's opening up now already, so we can keep this speed going. And I'm going to take a look at the inside of him and underneath. I'm happy that I've got room. I'm going to come through slowly, because I don't know what they're going to do. Looking at the road ahead, get your eyes up to the furthest point you can see. Right, so look, we've got a bend to the left, and positioning right to get a better view, and that limit point is moving away already. So as you can see, it's a very slack bend. One towards. ahead again, there's a bend to the left. We've got a residential area, so we've probably got to change the speed limit, but cast your eyes forward to that limit point, have a look at what's happening there. As you can see, new road opening up all the time, so the physical shape of the bend would allow us to go around at a much higher speed. The speed limit, of course, dictates that we can't. Zone. It looks like it's nursery time. Very small children, so 20 might even be too fast here. Also watching for parents pulling away in a hurry. Some left and right. Two parked vehicles here, both of which look like they may pull away. In fact, the van on the left has pulled away with his left-hand signal on. He's looking for somewhere to drop things off. Not thinking about his driving. Good driver on a bad day. We'll leave it at that. I'm going to go left as we look into the corner. See, new road opening up. Parked vehicles other side, so I'm going to take it easy. Activity ahead, white vans. They're either looking for somewhere to deliver, somewhere to work, so you can expect them to stop unexpectedly. So hopefully that's helped you to see how the limit point works. There is of course more to driving than just chasing limit points around, but it can start to give you a better picture of what's around you, and you can therefore plan accordingly. Which leads us nicely to driving plans. Again, an area that's often misunderstood by people. When we talk about a driving plan, we're talking about, well, basically three parts. What we can see ahead of us, that's what's in our limit point. What we can't see, now that could be things that are around the corner, beyond our field of vision, or as in a case like this, there are lots of driveways, there are parked vehicles, there could be lots of things hidden there, like for example vehicles reversing from there, pedestrians running out, cars pulling away without signals. So they're things that we perhaps can't see at the moment. And the final bit, what we might reasonably expect. Now I don't mean we should expect everybody along here to behave well. We might expect that somebody might pull away without a signal. We might expect that somebody may come towards us on our side of the road. Along here, we're going onto somebody else's side of the road. So we've got to look at that. Perhaps here, I've got to make the decision whether to go past this parked vehicle, but there is a junction on the right. Now that person coming out should give way because it's controlled by a give-way lane, but that doesn't mean that they will. So it's what we can see, the topography if you like, what's actually in front of us, the evidence we gather with our eyes and our other senses. Sometimes we hear things. What we can't see, things along the driveway, things around the bend, things inside the vehicles, things under the vehicles, and what we might reasonably expect based on our experience of the world thus far. So we'll do another little section, perhaps talking about that. What are we thinking about, and what are we going to do about it? So I'm gingerly coming out here to look into the gap, watching for car doors opening, vehicles pulling off driveways. There's one towards me, so I'm just easing back here. No point in rushing into that situation. I'm looking beyond the parked cars to see if somebody else is going to come into the gap. Doesn't look like there anybody is. Parked vehicle there, watching for him reversing out. Playground, so there could be kids running out. There's a bus stop there, so we're on a bus route. There may be a bus ahead of us, or one indeed coming the other way. Watching for things coming out of these vehicles. Trying to look around the bend, looking at the limit point. There may be parked vehicles. I can see over the wall that there isn't. The sign tells me there's elderly people, so there's an old folks home around here somewhere, so we're watching for that. people who are perhaps hard of hearing, perhaps a little infirm. The road surface here is in a terrible condition, so we don't want to be putting ourselves in a position where we're going to brake hard. National speed limit, 1 towards. There's a hedge running along to the right, that might indicate a farm track. There is a farm over there, so we're keeping an eye on that. Looking around the bend. Telegraph poles, again, they're sometimes next to roads. And there is a track there, which wasn't clearly visible. Again, telegraph poles that way, there might be a road to the right. Parked vehicle ahead, or is it? That's one towards us. Warning sign ahead, can't tell what it's for yet. There's a bend to the left. Road liable to flooding. Well, it's been dry for a day or so, so we should be okay. See the giveaway sign, so he may be coming out of there. And we're coming into a residential area, so I might reasonably expect that there's going to be a change of speed limit. And I see the change of speed limit ahead of us, so check my mirror and easing back down. Larger vehicles coming towards me. Parked vehicle on the left, which has just moved away. It's a tractor, so he's moving slowly. So I'm going to gain on him fairly quickly. So I might need to execute an overtaking manoeuvre. A couple of vehicles towards. I see the back of a vehicle protruding from behind that hedge on the right. He may reverse onto the road. Check my mirror just in case. Other openings on the left, there might be somebody coming out of there. I can see a plan board for a junction. It's a roundabout. So I know now that I'm probably going to have to slow down. We're going to go to the right at that roundabout. Couple towards. Traffic lights ahead, they may change. Mirrors. Nobody's pressed the button, so we should be okay. We'll go to the right of the roundabout. Traffic coming onto this road, not causing me issues. One potentially turning across my path. There's a large vehicle heading towards me here. He should give way to me, but I'm ready in case he doesn't. He doesn't look like he's thinking about giving way, does he? So I was ready for him. Road narrows. Traffic towards me has priority. Could be somebody at high speed. They've put these chicanes in here for a reason. That's probably because maybe the local youth use this as a racetrack. Road narrows here, vehicles both sides, delivery vans. They may pull away without warning. The driver may run out to go back to it, so I've sacrificed a lot of speed there just to be safe. We have priority ahead here, a lot of parked vehicles, keep an eye on those, watching for people coming out of driveways. We have priority, doesn't mean we're going to get it. Lots of parked vehicles on the left, way up in the distance. Again, looking at similar things. One of those vehicles may just pull away. A driver may be running late, run across the road unexpectedly. There's mud on the road now, and the road surface isn't good anyway, it's quite scarred. So we have priority here. Are we going to get it? I'm not committing till I'm sure we are. We're thankful for his actions. Keeping an eye on the vehicles on the left. Watching for people reversing out. We're indicating left on that car ahead. They are a learner driver, so they're fairly new. Keeping an eye on it. Again, driveways all over the place, so we're watching for vehicles coming there. Now we have a level crossing ahead of us. We can't see it yet, so I suspect it's just around this bend. Yes, it is. So I'm checking my mirrors. Plenty of room behind me. Vehicle emerging from my right, the yellow van. He's travelling along my path. Is he going to come out in front of me? No. We're over a hill. Dead ground beyond there. There could be a vehicle parked in there, broken down. We don't know, so we're sacrificing the speed until we do know. Bend to the left. Limit point is opening up, so I can see that the road ahead of me is clear. Double white line system in the middle, so there shouldn't be parked vehicles, but that doesn't mean that there won't be. Signs for footpaths left and right. Again, a plan board. It's a roundabout, so we know we're going to have to do something. We're going ahead. Looking through the trees to get an earlier view. Vehicle turned left without indicating left. Watching for people forcing their way on. I have room on the right hand side to move into that lane should I need to. I'm watching for traffic coming up the slip road, so I'm going to take that early view to the left. There is a vehicle coming at high speed. We're going to be beyond before he gets here. You should see him in the rear view mirror as we come by. There he is. School patrol. It's approaching 12 o'clock, so they may be out and about. This is 30 on the road. Bend to the right. Vehicle could reverse out. Again, lots of driveways, junction left, which I'm happy about now. Warning sign ahead. Again, junction to the right. We're going to take that junction to the right. There's a parked vehicle just on that new road. So I need to take that into account before I commit to the turn. Where's my position going to be as I make this turn? Is there anything on the other side of the road? Because I'm being forced out there. There isn't, so we're happy to commit. Again, housing. National speed limit ahead of me. Lots of scarring on the road from roadworks. Warning sign ahead. Uneven road. We've worked that out already. On towards. So national speed limit. Limit point's opening up. Now look at the limit point on the road ahead. The warning sign says it's a tight bend. Try and get an idea from back here where it goes. I can see that the road does appear to go round right. That limit point is staying still. Just moving. Now we've got the speed matched. That was a lot tighter than it looked. But by having that limit point to gauge it from, we can work with it. One towards us. Again, looking at the limit point. This time it's opening up. So I know I can maintain the speed. White van parked on the left. See brake lights on it. If those brake lights go out, his foot comes off the stop pedal and onto the go pedal. So I'm watching for it. There's nobody in the lane to my right. There's nobody coming behind me. The brake lights are still on. Keeping an eye on them still. Bent to the left. Warning sign ahead for it, an uneven road. Looking at the limit point, it's moving already. So we can actually take this bend at a fair speed. Again, look at the limit point ahead. It's already moving away from us. We're not gaining on that limit point, so we'll keep the speed on. Again, a bend ahead. The markings to say that it's a tight bend. What is it? Let's look at the limit point. No, it's moving already. So we're fine. Actually get around that bend at a reasonable speed. We could always at that point stop within the distance we could see to be clear. Bend to the right this time. Again, the limit point's opening up already. So there's always new road ahead of us. Bend to the left, look at the hedge against the Armco on the other side. There's a warning sign too, tells me there's a junction. Checking my mirrors, so it's behind that limit point's opening. Keep it going. You can see along that road there's nobody there. Bend to the left. Look at the limit point. I'm just easing back because it's moving but not enough. It's moving now. So we were gaining on that limit point for a short while, so I just ease back. Again, bend to the left. I'm wary that there's some mud on the road here on the left. There's a bend to the left, so I'm going to position to the right, mirrors first of course, to get a better view round the bend. Junction left, I'm happy about it. Limit point's moving all the time. Now the bend goes around to the right, so I'm going to position to the left. Again, you'll see the limit point's moving away from us all the time. Again, bend to the left, so I'm going to position to the right. Checking mirrors first of course. Again, that limit point's moving already. So we have plenty of room here. Warning signs, junction left, slippery road, which we've already worked out. There is a slow moving Volvo ahead of us. I think it's a Volvo. No, it's not. We're slow moving. We're going to go right and left. Now ahead there's a level crossing. The lights are on red. I'm trying to take the early view here. The hedges stop us getting too good a view. No signals because there's nobody to benefit from it. Heavy slow-moving vehicle ahead of us. Warning signs for the crossing. And turning left. But I'm watching for vehicles emerging. There are large vehicles there, but they're not going to be there by the time we get there. Our vehicle's on the right. Poor road surface here. Now the car ahead can give us a little bit of a guide. Let's watch what he does as he goes around here. Don't base everything on it, but perhaps knows the road. limit point's getting closer, closer. Now it's moving away. This is the right speed. And again, we've constantly got new road ahead of us, and we can stop in that distance. We can see to be clear. Heavy towards. Large vehicle parked. Warning sign of a flood. Local knowledge tells me it's this bit of road I'm on now that normally floods. Lots of mud on the road. Looks like it's drying out a bit, but I suspect that we're not going to get a brilliant grip here. I'm going to try and place my wheels around or either side of that mud track. Position right for the view around the bend. The car in front of me is a good guide here. I don't get trapped into following the vehicle in front. Warning sign ahead tells me there's a sharp bend. There's also the deviation arrows. So let's have a look at the limit point. And I can see that's going to be quite tight. I want all of my braking done and any gear changing done by the time I get here. Now we can see the new road opens up. Very uneven road surface here. Lots of mud around. Now dead ground ahead of us. There's a hill, which is an uphill bend if you like. We cannot see beyond the brow of that hill. That's our dead ground. Our limit point is currently at the top. The car ahead of us is helping us in this regard because we can see the top of him. There's no brake activity. Bend to the right. Indicator that it is a sharp bend. Arrow says slow on the road. Look at the limit point. Taking the speed down, down, and now we're able to follow the bend around because, as you can see, as we got closer, the limit point was getting closer and closer and closer, so that means that our speed must get slower and slower and slower. It's not always easy to judge, and if you're in doubt, slow down. Again, dead ground ahead of us, says slow on the road. I'm going to take some speed off. Again, the car ahead helps us because we see him early. Bend to the right, then a bend to the left. Look at the limit point. We were always able to stop in the distance we could see to be clear. Again, looking at it here. And then a bend to the left. So we're always pacing ourselves so that we're completely safe. Grass cutting machine or a golf buggy to the right, doing some maintenance. Mud on the road. Slippery road surface, that's probably why. Plan board for a junction, mirrors. Change of speed limit too, we're coming into a residential area. Now they're stopped, so there must be traffic coming. So there's no point in rushing, there's nobody behind. I'm going to come in slowly because I'm going to try and keep the vehicle moving, which I was able to do. So by not sacrificing that speed, we don't have to use power to get the speed back up. Trying to use the momentum of the vehicle at all times. Speed humps ahead, vehicles towards driveways left and right. We're on a bus route, it's a school area. You see it says that on the road. Cyclist towards, one emerging right, he's going to have a go. Keeping an eye on the van, one towards. He's going to come out our side of the road over to the cyclist. It's not going to be an issue for us. Parked vehicle on the right. Nobody behind, nobody ahead. Again, driveways. Car parks left and right. Traffic lights ahead I know are on green. Probably going to go to, or on red rather, sorry. They're probably going to go to green by the time we get there. Again, watching for these vehicles coming into these driveways. Constantly vigilant. Pedestrian towards another vehicle towards us. Right. They're on red a long time. I expect them to be on green a long time, but they're not. We're just gently rolling to a stop. And they've changed again straight away to green. Looking into the new road. More houses, so there'll be more driveways. The road is narrow, very poor road surface, it's scarred by roadworks. Down towards road narrows. I'm just taking a little bit of speed off here till I see them tug in. Instructor not watching where he's going. People out to my side of the road, how interesting. Vehicle turning across my path ahead. We're approaching a national speed limit. Vehicle towards me. Under that. Again, looking ahead, trying to look at the limit point. I can see where the road goes. White van coming towards us. Open road here. No bends of any note to look at currently. Another one towards us. Headlights on. Travelling quite quick by the looks of things. See a residential area ahead, so probably a change of speed limit. There's a farm on the right, so there may be slow moving vehicles. Pedestrian on the road. I see a warning sign. Wild animals. Slight bend to the right. Looking at the limit point. It's moving already. So I can see the change of speed limit sign. So mirrors. There is one behind me, but he's a long way back. Pedestrian on the right. Garden centre on the right. Could be vehicles emerging. I see a blue keep right arrow, so there's some roadworks and the sign telling me that the road narrows. I'm going to position slightly to the right to get a better view. I'm going to take third gear with a high amount of rev, so I've got the car balanced. So I'm going to use willpower if I need it, and I can also use engine braking. So I'm just using acceleration sense here. Parked vehicles all the way along, woman with a pram and a baby. White van parked on my side of the road. It's going to throw me out to the other side of the road, so I've checked my mirrors. Again on a bus lane, junctions left, right, and then another one on the left. Left and right clear. That's a parking spot. That's clear. Some vehicles ahead, but they're stopped. Sign warning me of a school. And a mini roundabout. I'm checking my mirrors. Looking ahead of the road we're going along. The road narrows from both sides, it looks like. And there's parked vehicles everywhere. Signal for the chap behind. Oncoming traffic has priority, but there's nobody coming. We have priority over traffic coming ahead this time, but we're keeping an eye on it. There is a one approaching. Is he coming through? And then the right, and a junction on the right. So 30 miles an hour will be far too fast here. Interesting manoeuvre. He's going to spin around. Is he going to come out? Turning the road in the mouth of a junction. Could you rightfully expect that? Now I'm going to put a signal onto the right here, because quite often if you take the correct position, people think you're turning left. A little bit of local knowledge. Vehicle on the right hand side of the road, warning signs ahead, junction left, road narrows, traffic lights beyond that. Lights are on red, just going to green. I'm just taking a notch of speed off here, which will allow me to just roll in behind these vehicles. Vehicles right and left, pedestrian left with a small child. So watch my things coming out of these junctions, trying to get an earlier view as I can across the top of the walls. I go right at the end of this road. Keep that junction clear. Pretty old Volkswagen on the right. Alright, 1973. So I look to the right, there's a pedestrian crossing in the new road, bus shelter. So vehicles coming towards me from the right. Chance here after this vehicle. Lots of parked vehicles on the other side of the road. They may decide to pull out. Bend to the left. Touristy signboard. Could be foreigners around, foreign tourists. You never know. Parked vehicles on the right hand side of the road, somebody just getting in. They may commit to pulling away. I'm trying to look as far, which they have done. I'm trying to look as far around the corner as I can. I'm going to position to the right now that I'm beyond the parked cars. But I'm ready to sacrifice that position because of the parked vehicle on the other side. Being over to the right gives me a clearer view around the bend at an earlier point. Parked vehicles left. Again, bend to the right, look at the limit point, one wall against the other, you can see it's opening up already. So you have no need to slow down further. Parked vehicles on the left, one towards, two towards now. Maintain momentum here, so we'll just roll gently to a stop. Pop a signal on for the car behind. Looked like he was approaching quite quick. Didn't want to take him, give him the chance to shoot past. Watching for people getting out of the cars, pedestrians running behind them. Traffic lights ahead are on red. Just notching the tiniest bit of speed off here. Right. Keeping the box junction clear. Both mirrors before I move off. One towards. Pedestrians might step out. I've got my eye on them. Looking into the road I'm going into. Parked cars on the left. They're in a car park. What I can see is some road ahead of me. I cannot see around the corner, so I'm being very careful to make sure that I can see that there's no pedestrians there before I commit. Junction ahead, vehicles towards, junction on the left, one emerging, whereas white car emerging. He shouldn't go, but he might. Pedestrian. Van emerging from the right. Pedestrians on the road. Brake activity from the vehicle in front. He may be just trying to keep himself down to the speed limit, or he may be turning. Right. Parked vehicles on the other side of the road as I turn in here, so I need to make sure that it's clear beyond those parked vehicles before I commit to the turn. No point in committing to that turn if I know I can't complete it. Very poor road surface. Don't want to get caught out having to brake hard here. Can't see around the corner. Considering using the horn. Don't think I need to. So hopefully that's again giving you some more food for thought, some things to experiment with. Having all that information will sharpen your driving up no end. So again, thanks for watching.